That's some really cool videos. I really like the one with the spider. It's got a little leg scrambling around. If you guys actually want to learn how to do some of that stuff, those really cool graphics animations, head over to fullsail.edu/MLG. There's a little form for more information about Full Sail University. Full Sail University is MLG's official education partner. They have a lot of cool programs: audio engineering, computer animation, game design, video production. Interested in any of these things, they're all important parts to make a great computer game like Starcraft 2, like League of Legends, like Call of Duty, all the ones you watch. If you want to be a part of making those, check out fullsail.edu/MLG. One thing to note is if you want to work in the esports industry as well, I mean, us at MLG, all of our graphics are made from a Full Sail graduate. We have 2 interns, audio engineer, all with Full Sail graduates. So it's a great way to get into the field, learn a little bit about all the cool things that come together to make a great game like Starcraft 2. Let's get on to our next replay. It's going to be a Terran replay, and it's going to be sent from Majolner. Majolner is saying that, why did I lose this game? Was it just a mechanical loss? Did he macro not quite as good as his opponent? Or was it a bad drop, attack angle, or something else? Feel free to criticize him. So, maybe I will, but I'll be nice too. The couple things you want to talk about this are: 1, was it a mechanical loss? Well, let's look at the macro, see if it was or not. Was it a bad attack angle? Let's look at the engagement positioning and see if it was or not. And then the last thing is, let's talk about how you can recover from a poor engagement if that happens, because you know what? Nobody's perfect. Everyone's going to have those poor engagements, and halfway into it, they're like, oh man, I should have backed away there. Or they even realize it going in, and it's like, oh man, there's a lag spike and my guys went in there and now I'm in trouble. How can you recover from a poor engagement? So let's jump into this game, and first let's talk a little bit about macro. So I'm jumping into it. I'm skipping up to the 10:30 mark. It's been a pretty standard TVT. Both players opened identically. If both players open identically, with even macro, they should have the same SCV count. If you look here, unfortunately, he's down by a few. He's down 4 workers. I think earlier he was down by maybe, let's hit the back button. So right here, he's down by 6 workers. And that can add up. I mean, it's not a huge difference. But you know what? The small things add up. So if you find yourself behind in worker count when you shouldn't be, make sure to focus on the worker production your next couple games to try to make sure you're able to keep up with your opponents, because you know you may only be behind by 110, let's say 150 resources a minute, but over a couple minutes that can add up to be, you know, down by 10 food maybe. And in fact, he's only down by 4 food right now, but his opponent has a little bit more in production in him as well. So those things do add up. So now let's look at the engagement positioning. So we'll fast forward through here just a little bit. Going to take the middle, and you know, this is fine. I love going out, getting some map control, especially how he scanned ahead of him, because you don't want to charge up this ramp. There's like siege tanks and marines everywhere. In fact, they had siege tanks in the middle. Instead of charging the ramp, you just go here and kill them and kill their base. So great scan there. Nice way to keep an idea on positioning. And then as you head up here, of course, oops, you can tell, okay, I may have more guys than him. I can go and take this middle from him. Oops. Fast forward just a little bit too eagerly there. But the next thing to look at is the engagement position here. So you grab the watchtower, and you can see exactly he's coming out here like, okay, maybe I can get a drop on him. But one thing that's really important is when you have units like Marines, they're glass cannon type units. Glass cannon means that he has very high damage to life ratio, which means in a mirror matchup, the battle's going to happen very quickly. And the faster that battle happens, the more important the concave is. That's why in a game like Warcraft 3, for example, the concave is not quite as important, because all the units are so beefy that, yeah, you can give up a couple of free rounds from some of their guys, but it'll all, you know, your guys will fill in the holes in the concave and it'll all balance out. Who cares if they got a couple extra attacks? But you know what? In Marine Mirror, a couple of extra attacks is all of a sudden you lost 1/3 of your Marines to their Marines, because, you know, that's literally how fast Marines kill each other. So as we're coming down this angle, this is a really bad position. If you look at the army sizes, right? Let's grab this. So how many Marines are here? 24 plus, almost, basically it's three Marines less than 2 full pages and 2 medevacs. So here on the other player, he's got 7 Marines. Yeah, let's say 7. 7 Marines less than you, but he has a medevac and 1 siege tank. So that's actually roughly equal armies. If the tank is pre-siege, the red player should have a slight advantage. But, you know, it's roughly even armies. So you shouldn't lose by horrible amount. But charging down this ramp, in fact, if we actually look at what happens here. Look at this. As the battle gets on, his entire Marine force is engaging, or all shooting. Whereas, in fact, let's actually bring this up on a touchscreen. So his entire Marine force is shooting you. But these guys over here, this little squad, these guys, they're not shooting. That's half your army's not shooting. And you know what? When your units, if your units are meaty, then they can survive long enough and your guys can wrap around the corners. You can stutter step forward like you can do with roaches, and you can mitigate that fact. Well, glass cannon type units, they die so fast you cannot mitigate it, and the engagement is going to go horribly for you. So this engagement is not good. Of course, you realize that you back away before everything dies. But if you look at units lost, you lost like 300 more. Let's say you lost 6 more Marines than ideally you would have wanted to. So that's not a great situation. But you know what? The game shouldn't be over. You had a poor engagement, but it wasn't that bad. Yeah, you're 6 Marines down. But you can recover from this. So when you want to recover from a poor engagement, you need... a poor engagement means you're behind in army strength. So to recover when you're behind in army strength, you either need to adopt a strong defensive position, or you go for base trade. Or you do both, which is one thing I like about what you're doing here. You're getting to drop. A great idea to drop. But you need to set up a better defensive position. These guys should be behind a command center. Then you can use the command center as a meat shield, because you want to wait for a siege mode before you can really get a defensive position. Maybe put a few guys on the high ground. But right here, going out and fighting, that's the last thing you want to do. Because right now, you're not very far behind. But if you try to engage with this army against this one, he has 2 more medevacs and he's got more Marines than you, all of a sudden, it's not going to go well. Because you got to get the defensive position, especially when you have 8 Marines in this medevac on a drop play. So, of course, he has missile turrets. You lose the drop. That's fine. You're distracted. Totally understandable. The problem wasn't that. The problem was moving out here because you didn't establish a defensive position. You should have been back here, and you would have been totally fine, and the game would have gone on. You with a tiny disadvantage, mostly because you'd start falling behind in upgrades, but not even that big a deal. You would have been fine, not have had to GG out there. So the important thing to remember is that this game overall was played really well by Majolner. Sorry, not very good at pronouncing it. So Majolner did very well at everything, but a couple small things add to a difference. His macro put him like maybe 6 food behind. Then a little bit of a mistake with engagement, put another 6 food behind. That's fine. 12 food behind, you can recover. But you got to take a defensive posture. He would have been totally fine just taking defensive posture. Unfortunately, that last attack there, that's 3 small mistakes. And 3 small mistakes, like in baseball, 3 strikes are out. In some Starcraft games, that can add up and can cost you the game as well. So that rounds it up for this segment on TVT about how the small mistakes can add up. We'll take a short break and be right back with a question and answer period.